Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some Historic Brawl with a commander that I thought would be one of the most underpowered from our previous Historic Brawl stream, but it actually ended up being one of the more fun and evenly balanced decks, and that's going to be Katilda, Dawnheart, Martyr, a 3-mana star with flying and lifelink and protection from vampires. That could come up, but probably not. Katilda's power and toughness are equal to the number of permanents you control that are either spirits or enchantments. And then, when Katilda dies, instead of putting her into the command zone, we're actually going to put her into the graveyard, which means we can pay the disturb costs of 5 mana to turn Katilda into Katilda's Rising Dawn, which is a legendary aura that we can attach to a creature. That creature would get flying, lifelink, and protection from vampires, +X, where X is the number of permanents you control that are spirits and are enchantments. However, if Katilda's Rising Dawn would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, we exile it instead. So basically, Katilda gets somewhat around command attacks. And that's important because some of the more powerful commanders in singleton formats like this are the ones that do cheat on the command attacks. So we're looking at like Golos, who enters and puts a land into play, you know, halving the command attacks. We're looking at the like Scarab Gods or something like that, that if they die, they just go back to your hand. Scarab Gods a little less on the high power tier list, but you kind of get my point anyway. Katilda is one of those, so we play Katilda for 3. If she dies, if we were to put her into the command zone, she'd cost 5, but instead we just put her into the graveyard, so she costs 5. And then if the creature that she's enchanting dies, she goes then back into the command zone, which we can then cast her as a creature for 5. So we go like 3, 5, 5, you know, 7, you know, that kind of thing. So we're not really doing too much extra on that one. But yes, we're going to be playing mono white auras for this list with a little bit of a spirit splash in here. I originally had like low hopes for this deck because it's mono white and it's very focused, and unfortunately the focus that it has on spirits and enchantments isn't very strong in mono white, as it turns out. A lot of the spirits that are good are blue, so, you know, we don't have too much to choose from, and in fact we have quite a fair few cards in here like Kindly Ancestor, which are basically just draft chaff, but a 3-mana 2/3 lifelink is also just fine anyway. And attaching lifelink to certain cards isn't too bad. We've also got things like Twinblade Geist, which is a 2-mana 1/1 double strike. Notably, these are very good to have auras attached to them as well as being disturbed spirits that can then be an aura. So I could attach double strike to Katilda, for example, and it would get the +1/+1 from the enchantment side of things. We have the usual suspects in here as well, as Core Spirit Dancer and Sram Senior Edificer. Both of these, whenever you cast aura spells, you draw a card, so that's kind of nice. We're kind of split between like auras and just normal enchantments, but we've got a few cards that kind of care about either of them as well. Hallowed Haunting from Vow, 4-mana enchantment. As long as you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. The important part, though, is whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you create a white spirit cleric creature token with this creature's power and toughness equal to the number of spirits you control. So that kind of like turbocharges Katilda, because not only are you playing an enchantment that pumps up Katilda, but when you do that, you get a cast trigger that makes you a spirit token, which also pumps Katilda. And the spirit clerics get pumped off of Katilda as well, plus the Hallowed Haunting, so it's all very nice there. We've also got Archon of Sun's Grace with the Constellation that says whenever an enchantment enters, you make a 2/2 Pegasus with flying, and Pegasus have lifelink as long as you've got the Archon out. We've got also good aura targets as well, stuff that you would see in the historic auras list, like Seasoned Hallowed Blade pops up from time to time, as well as, where are you? I saw you earlier. You are in here. Adanto Vanguard, wherever it is. It's right there. Right there. Adanto Vanguard, you can pay 4 to give it indestructible, and it attacks as a 3/1. So it's a really nice aura target. But yeah, the good matchups for this deck are definitely the ones where our opponent's removal choices are either fight or burn based. For those, all we have to do is build up a board state to which Katilda ends up being so large that she cannot be fought or burnt away, and then at that point we have this threat that just cannot be dealt with. Our bad matchups are of course the ones where that can be dealt with, so any matchups like blue decks with bounce and counter spells, black decks with hard removal spells, those ones we're going to struggle against, and we certainly do, from my experience. They are occasionally winnable, because we can interact with our opponent once our cards are on board. You know, we've got Alcida, Life's Bounty, God's Willings, Karametra's Blessings, Selfless Saviors. We've got pretty much all the spells that would say protection from or indestructible in our deck. So if our opponent does have a destroy or a bounce effect, we can hopefully deal with that without too much trouble. But yeah, this deck's super sweet, it's super fun, it's not super powerful, but the matchmaking system does put you up against evenly matched up commanders, so you're in for a fun time if you do check out this list, and if you're into auras in Historic, you're going to like this one. So if you do enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, I do greatly appreciate it. The deck list link is down in the description below if you do want to copy it. Do appreciate anyone who hits the follow button over on Aether Hub. It helps out the channel over there as well, so appreciate it, and yeah, take care and enjoy the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty, we're in, and this looks like it might be a good matchup. We don't currently have an answer to Azusa, but Dusk will probably kill anything Azusa ramps into. And yeah, I mean, this looks just fine. The good matchups for this deck are always the ones where the removal is based off of the opponent's power and toughness on their creatures. So the red decks, you can deal with the burn spells. I think we're just playing Shelter, so we have 4 mana. Guaranteed. Might be a bit premature to fire that one out, but I think that's what we're going to do. Alright. Land go. Yeah, if they have fight spells in green, then Katilda being too large will win you the game. Red, you just need to get out of burn range. That kind of thing. It's just when you go up against the black decks that have just hard removal, the blue decks that have counter spells, that I think this deck can struggle a little bit. So into the north gets Faceless Haven. We're going to start with Katilda, because we know that we can get it out of range while our opponent's durdling around with their Azusa. I'm assuming that's what they're going to play here and then make a land drop. Azusa being a 1-2, they could technically play Azusa and then like Blizzard Brawl it. That is a thing they've got available. I've never really liked Azusa as a commander though, because it's pretty clear that from what my opponent's done here, that Azusa just doesn't have lands to play. So, like, just nothing's really happened over there. So I'm actually just going to stick a thing on here, just so that Katilda is a 5-5 and not a 4-4, which could have brought us up to fight spell range, but now it's a 5-5, it's a little bit more difficult for him to do it. Never mind. It's perfectly reasonable for them to fight my Katilda. I am going to decline the command zone. And yeah, I think I'm now going to have to Dusk. Because the Kogla destroys artifacts and enchantments when it attacks, which makes it very awkward. I can save the Sentinel's Eyes for later, and I think I will. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more work for us to get out of fight range when our opponents can play 7/6s this early on. But I bet they pass the turn here. Yep, no lands in hand. Okay, so I think we're just going to go Archon into Sentinel's Eyes. Let's just do... I guess we'll do it on the Archon. The Dawn side of things, I don't think is really going to matter. It's basically just Katilda and then probably the Envoy in my yard, so it's a bit too early for that to be relevant. Now we got a 4-5 with Vigilance and Lifelink. We can Katilda it up and make it a little bit bigger than that. Cultivate a Colossus. No lands in hand. Pretty certain of that. Unless they top-decked one. They top-decked one. Okay. Did they top-deck another? They did. Wow. And that's it. Okay. 1 mana remaining. No fight spell. Unbreakable Formation, I think, is that kind of card that will just win me the game. So, Archon. Suited up and protected. Good luck, have fun, opponent. And this is kind of the scenario which is a good matchup for us. We've got indestructible protection with Unbreakable Formation now. We're at 44 life. We have absolutely no good reason to block. The opponent does have a reach creature, which is a 9/9. But I have Unbreakable Formation that can put counters on things, so that's 3, 6, 7, 8. That's lethal. Unless they can do something extra here. But I'm guessing the answer to that is they can't. If I didn't have this, any other aura would have been acceptable. They have to really have a fight spell here. Or gain life, I guess, off the druid class. To be able to win, but yeah, that's going to do it. Down to 34. No blocks. More lands. Unbreakable Formation with Adamant. And send in the clowns. Even assuming I didn't have exactly lethal there, they're not killing my Archon. They're not gonna hit me back on the swing back for lethal. And I have the extras to just hit them again. I don't think there's really a sweeper in green that's gonna do much there, so... Sweet! On to the next one. Okay, we're in. And I think this hand is keepable. It's got a Hallowed Blade in it, which we can, you know, get some work done with. He's probably going to be hard to kill, early on at least. And then maybe we can get Katilda down. We don't have to protect both of them. We can just protect one of them. We've got the Feat of Resistance to do that as well. So, yeah, this is fine. We're up against the Scarab God. Or the Scrub God, as I prefer to call him. 5 mana, 5/5. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life. Hang on. X life, where X is the number of zombies you control, and then you can pay 2 blue, black to exile a creature card from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. We got ourselves a spirit. And then it also has the Old God text of when it dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So you have to exile it, basically, to get it commander taxed. Which can be annoying, but it's also one of our only ways of killing things, so it's really no big deal. So I'm going to play around Jwari's Disruption here, I think by starting with Alcida Life's Bounty. Can still leave open Feat of Resistance and Sword to Plowshares. And, I mean, if we get some premium counterspell removal out for a 1-drop, that's just perfectly fine with me. Totally okay with that. Alright, so they get themselves a 1/2. We've arrived at that awkward time where our opponent finally has a threat. It's not too threatening, though, if we have a Mirror Shield equipped to our Hollow Blade, because we can get the toughness we need to swing through them. So, a couple zombies in play now, so the Scrub God can do a thing when it enters, or when it upkeeps. So, I can't really tell whether or not our opponent's playing zombie control, or zombies, or just control. Opponent's got a Jadar. I'm going to Swords to Plowshare that. The first possible opportunity, thank you. I was really thinking it wasn't going to give me a chance then. The old, what was it? It wasn't Rabble Master, it was the other one. War Boss. Legion War Boss. It used to be very powerful in Arena because it used to get its combat trigger every time without fail. So I'm going to go for the equip here, see if our opponent has bounce magic. They do, because they're rude. Okay. And yeah, my lack of lands is coming to destroy me here. Lack of lands, lack of auras. Be nice to get lands so I could Hollow Blade equip. But I imagine at this stage, Hollow Blade's getting countered. Well. No Hollow Blade equip. I think I'm going to take the chance they don't have more bounce magic. I'm okay with this getting censored. And I'm happy to discard if they've got a destroy effect. We're going to get rid of... I want to keep Angelic Purge for the Scrub Gods. I think it's going to have to be Transcendent Envoy. As much as I kind of like the card. I'll even go as far as discarding again, but it does become a little bit sketchy after that. I think it's Hanged Executioner after that. Opponent's going to Siphon Insight me. Sure. Our deck is full of cards that aren't all that playable for our opponent. But I guess with the right aura, they could have a good chance here. I don't have any zombies. Alright. Pass a turn. So we've got a 4-2 with First Strike. If I can equip it, it's a 4-4 with First Strike and Hexproof. It's not quite pushing past Scrub God, but it's getting there. Rude. Absolutely rude. Would that be a top deck for them then? Even pumps up the zombie token so I can't trade with it. They got my Spectral Steel. Okay. I might need this token, so I'm not going to block just yet. No lands is just very upsetting. Well, Katilda needs to get equipped here. I think because it resolved so quickly that we've got a good chance. Got a good chance, right? Gonna mass it to a 6-6. Which is still sort of fine, but not really. Now we get a land. So I could make Katilda a 3-3 with Hanged Executioner, but that stops me from going for the equip. I've got to be aware that Scrub God gets an upkeep that I don't like. There's also Prism Realm on the 6-6 token, which is fine. Because I can even sack it to Purge to get rid of the Scrub God, and I'm not giving our opponent anything back. Gift of the Estates. I mean, that's just salt in the wound at this point, right? Yeah. 4 mana's fine. It's fine. Up to 11, please. So here's Scrub God. I'll take your damage. Huh. That was almost a good card. If I had a land... Exile this from my graveyard, return another aura or equipment. So I could get a cartouche back. I mean, I'm pretty sure I have to do this. Which means, I guess I have to swing first. Because I would get a downgrade on my power and toughness by getting rid of this Prism Realm. Which I think is important. I'm certainly not going to do it to a land, and I want to keep the 1/1 to block the 3/3, I think. Yeah, really just want to land. Land means Black Blade into equip. Swing for enough to not care about our opponent's board state. But it's just not meant to be. I just cannot, for the life of me, draw a good card. Okay, Hanged Executioner. Swing for 3. That undoes this, at least, to a certain extent. So they could have stopped me and they chose not to. Maybe they forgot. I think they probably more likely forgot that they could take like an Alseed out of my graveyard and hit me for 1 extra. But it's also entirely possible that the cards they've got already in hand are much better. Like, they really just need removal for Katilda and they're in a fantastic position. I mean, 2 to the top. It's all gone well for our opponent. Not so much for little old me. Well, finally got the Alseed. So they could even do a block and sack. If they wanted to at some point. I guess I'm chumping here. Taking 4. Actually, can I even take 4? I don't think I actually can, because they get the Scrub God taking a Transcendent Envoy on upkeep, which I think kills me to Xaxes. But I'm pretty sure I'm just dead anyway, because... Oh, thanks. Here's Black Blade. Because if I swing, they do the block and sack, I don't gain any life. If they attack me... Right, game over. That couldn't have gone any worse. On to the next one. Ooh, Helena and Elena are our opponent's commanders today. On the draw, we got a Sun Gold Sentinel. Got a Denethor then. I kind of want to just take the free mull on this hand. I think we can do better. It's kind of better, but not really. We get to Baffling End before we play Katilda, so at least Katilda's a 2/2, so it doesn't die to like Spitefield Hazard, but it should probably just die to everything else. So our opponent's going to go Llanowar Elves. We're absolutely going to snipe that off with a Baffling End, because we need to be on the same pace as our opponent, and having them ramp into their Helena is not a great way of us keeping pace. Rhythm of the Wilds. Okay. So here we're going to go Katilda, because I feel like they're going to go land, Helena, Riot with the counter. I think that's probably their plan. And I want to try and set up a punish of sorts with that. And, I mean, top decking Banishing Light's the best way to punish that. We can still have our Katilda die, but if we get one more turn to untap and hold up in Feat of Resistance, I think this game is over. Yeah, don't care about Sereth at all. Got a land, which means we can do 3-drop. So let's do Faithbound Judge, because this only cares about enchantments being cast. Right? Yes. So I can do Faithbound Judge, which is a +1/+1 to Katilda, with the Feat of Resistance protection open. Follow that up with a Hallowed Haunting with resistance open. That makes her a 5/5. Yeah, pretty hard to kill at that stage. Opponents only got burn and fight spells as their tools of removal. Scourge we don't care about. So it looks like they're kind of more in on the counter side of things with the Helana and Elena here. I'm going to say, yep, this is fine. Didn't even notice you were doing anything good. Alright. Hallowed Haunting. Hit shift to 5. And now any enchantments create a spirit, which will be a 3/3 from this point. Which is a good starting point, I'll say. They will have Helana available soon, which has Secret Reach. But I'm not going to care about that too much, because I can Feat of Resistance my way through it, I think, by the time it matters. We also have the Angelic Purge as well. We can dump a land, maybe. I kind of want to keep the... yeah, here we go. So, protection from green. Fizzle that out. You can get the counter, which is lovely. Yep, hits me for a lot. Admittedly, it is a lot. But we got the Angelic Gift, so this is going to be a lot of damage. I don't think it actually really matters where I put this. Assume I probably want to put it just on the Katilda anyway. Since we do have... Oh, lovely. We have cards that care about the creature already being enchanted. So, yeah, I mean, I can't possibly see a line of play where they don't lose here. Dormant Grove. Like, if they could lethally attack me here, I could just Teferi's Protection. But they can't. So, I won't care. I can Sajiri Shelter the Spirit on the ground to give it protection from green. Faithbound Judge can attack now. And it's all over. Fantastic. Yep. Good matchup. Had the right cards, I think. I wonder how different this game would have been if I didn't have the Banishing Light off the top for Helana. Some of these cards would have come in with immediate haste. And there would have been a reach creature in play as well, stopping Helana from... stopping Katilda from getting to this lethal point. So it was definitely a lucky hit for us there, but we also could have just waited for a long time since we had the Feat of Resistance anyway. There was going to come a time when our opponent was going to use that inscription or any fight spell. We were going to protect against it, and then our opponent's out of interaction. And we've just got this threat on board that can block instead of attack and still gain us a lot of value. So, yeah, pretty good. On to the next one. Azusa again. Is this the same person? I don't really know. Either way, this hand is fine. It's got Core Spirit Dancer that can draw a card off the Faith's Fetters. We've got the Borrowed Time for any threat they might play. Azusa comes down and gets immediate value, but it only gets it like once, and then that's kind of like it for the rest of the game. That's why I don't like Azusa. I think playing 2 additional lands on each of your turns is nice if you can get lands in your hand, but in Historic Brawl it just doesn't really happen. Colony Garden. A Rune of Sustenance. Alright, so I think we're starting with Core Spirit Dancer because we drew the Rune of Sustenance. Otherwise I might have considered the Twin Blade Geist, which attacks for more. Has a more aggressive start at least. Light of Promise. That's going to be absurd. I'm not sure how our opponent will win the game once I get that equipped. So now we have a 2/4. Can swing through this token. They don't have anything to fight the Spirit Dancer. Once I get the Light of Promise on, it's going to be doubling its power and toughness, and then it's going to be lights out. They need a creature here that can either kill Spirit Dancer on the spot, which Azusa plus additional lands isn't going to do it. Or they need a naturalize effect very quickly. They need to wait to get rid of the lifelink so this Light of Promise isn't disgusting. But they didn't, so game over. It's a 4-6 now, and it's going to gain 4 life, it's going to get 4 counters, and that's going to put it out of range of anything fighting it at this stage in the game. Not to mention, this is just going to keep doubling, and doubling, and doubling, and doubling. So they can block with zombies all they want, but I will be at 1,000 life in no time. It's interesting to see how early they got the Field of the Dead on, though. That's quite impressive, I'll give them that. Asusar actually Asusering. They have a Galter. I have a Banishing Light effect. I also have Faith's Fetters, which would draw me a card and gain me life, so let's do that. They had to have known I had an answer to this, surely. I don't draw a card, actually. It's only when Spirit Dancer gets cast by one, right? Whenever you cast an aura card, you may draw a card. Did I draw a card? Am I having a brain fart moment? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I drew this land, right? Brain fart. Right. So, Field of the Dead doing its thing. Llanowar Elves coming down. Carney T doing a thing. I'm at 46. You are attacking me with a Blinkmoth Nexus. That should say a lot. And by a lot, I mean it should say that whatever you do here is going to be not enough. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Twin Blade Geist with the intention of getting it killed. So I can add Double Strike to my core Spirit Dancer. And what about Unbreakable Formation? Let's attack our opponent, because I want them to play this out until my life total is in the thousands. So I don't want to, like, durdle so they concede, because they know they're losing, surely. I don't know how they beat this. I'm at 62. I now have a 48-48. Yeah, I mean, I'll just play, like, a Katilda. It really doesn't matter what I play, but yeah, Katilda dying would mean that I could give Spirit Dancer flying for lethal, so they can't attack me anymore. But they can't attack me with a Carnage Tyrant. So I guess this is how it's gonna be. Let's get our spirits killed. In the most spectacular fashion possible. Decline the command zone trigger up to 53, 55. And, I mean, no. I'm sorry, opponent, but I can't. I can't be the one to kill you today. It's just not in me. Double strike, please. This is going to end via concession. Oh, there's the other double striking ability. Let's go with Kindly Ancestor. Wow. Draft common. Block me, please. And then next turn we'll win. $110. Lovely. This is officially play with my food, but how often do you get a chance to play with your food in such a way? I don't even know what the punish could be for this. I'm just not going to block. I don't need to. How does one get punished? Reclamation Sage, okay. Getting rid of which enchantment? I'll let them figure it out before I look at them. They could get rid of the double striking one, and then I'll just shove Duelist Heritage on it. I mean, to be honest, I'll just win with Katilda, so, like... They chose... the double strike. Fair. It has double strike again. Oh, this is wonderful. Yeah, let's just do... Well, let's just swing. It has double strike. Thank you. I'll kill them next turn. This is enough for me. The fact that I actually can't double strike with my cards is upsetting me. So 216, 218 at 209 life. We're going to pass the turn. And we will be swinging for a lot of damage. Ooh.
I've lost so much already. I won't lose.
They could have given reach to a creature here.
Over's the only way.
Instead, they're going to have a potential flash target. If you think about it, chat, though, I'm kind of doing them a favor because they've got cast X green spells. This has double strike. I can't target it, sorry. Lana or else, you have double strike. There you go. You're welcome. I could even block it and still kill it. But I won't. You get to draw some cards. Enjoy. This is called playing with your food, chat. Vorinclex. That's a good one. And I win. Alright. It's time to end this charade. Ooh. That's nice. Envoy. Little bit of extra power and toughness. Completely tapped out, and 225 with double strike. Bam. Yo, 420. Blaze it, chat. Blaze it. That's how you know that I did the right thing. No, at no point did I ever make a mistake, because everything I did up until this point led to 420, and that includes letting my opponent's Llanowar Elves have double strike. There you go. Taps forehead. Perfect. Perfect play. Woo. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you get the chance to blaze it. And yeah, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you liked me mocking my opponent with an unbeatable board state. And yeah, without further ado, gonna end it off here. Take care, and peace.